What if everything you've been taught about love is wrong? Society loves to paint this picture of love as a battlefield, where you have to fight, chase, and prove your worth to someone who's barely paying attention. But here's the truth. No one tells you. Real love isn't about convincing someone to choose you. It's about finding someone who already does. Imagine how much easier relationships could be if you stopped chasing and started choosing. Sounds radical, right? Think about it. How many times have you stayed in a relationship hoping the other person would finally see your value? Or worse, how often have you mistaken emotional unavailability for passion? The problem isn't you. It's the stories we've been fed about love. Stories that glorify struggle, obstacles, and resistance as if they're the ultimate proof of commitment. But what if the real secret to love isn't about working harder? It's about choosing smarter. In this video, we're going to shatter those outdated beliefs and uncover the key to finding a love that feels effortless, mutual, and deeply fulfilling. You'll learn why chasing love is a losing game, how to spot the red flags early, and, most importantly, how to attract someone who's just as excited about you as you are about them. Ready to rewrite your love story? Let's dive in. The truth about relationships is surprisingly simple, yet so often overlooked. You should only invest your time and energy in people who show genuine enthusiasm for you from the very beginning. Think about it. Why waste your emotional bandwidth convincing someone of your worth? Real love doesn't require persuasion or elaborate strategies. It's like planting a seed in fertile soil. If the soil isn't ready to nurture the seed, no amount of effort will make it grow. Instead, focus on those who are already eager to meet you halfway. Too often, people fall into the trap of believing that love must be earned through persistence or sacrifice. This mindset can lead to exhausting emotional gymnastics, where one partner is constantly trying to prove their value. For example, have you ever found yourself overanalyzing texts, wondering if you're being too much or not enough? That's a sign you're chasing approval rather than experiencing mutual enthusiasm. Healthy relationships don't feel like a game of tug-of-war. They feel like a natural, effortless flow. Here's a practical takeaway. Observe how someone treats you in the early stages. Are they excited to spend time with you? Do they actively listen and engage? If you sense hesitation, indifference, or mixed signals, take it as a red flag. You deserve someone who's thrilled to be in your life, not someone who needs convincing. And while this realization might feel liberating, it also raises an important question. Why do so many of us settle for less than we deserve? For centuries, culture and literature have romanticized the idea that love must be hard to earn. From Shakespearean tragedies to modern rom-coms, we're fed the narrative that obstacles and resistance are the hallmarks of a true love story. Think about it. How many movies glorify the hero who fights tooth and nail to win someone's heart? While entertaining, these stories subtly teach us that love is a prize to be conquered, not a connection to be mutually nurtured. And that belief, it's wreaking havoc on our real-life relationships. This cultural obsession with struggle makes us equate emotional resistance with passion. The more someone plays hard to get, the more we're convinced they're worth the chase. But let's pause for a second. Does enduring rejection or emotional unavailability really make love more meaningful? Imagine someone who's constantly unavailable or dismissive. Would you call that love, or just frustration dressed up as romance? The truth is, we've been conditioned to see love as a battlefield when it should feel more like a safe haven. Breaking free from this mindset starts with questioning the stories we've internalized. What if love didn't have to be a struggle? What if it could be simple, mutual, and fulfilling without the drama? The challenge is unlearning these deeply ingrained patterns, but it's entirely possible. And here's the kicker. Many of these patterns don't just come from culture. They're rooted in something far more personal. Our understanding of love often begins in childhood, shaped by the dynamics we observed and experienced with our parents or caregivers. If you grew up with emotionally unavailable or distracted parents, you might have unknowingly learned to associate love with frustration or even rejection. For example, a child who constantly seeks approval from a distant parent might grow up believing that love is something you have to chase or earn. These early experiences plant seeds that can grow into unhealthy patterns in adulthood. Think about it. If love in your formative years felt conditional, only given when you behaved a certain way or met specific expectations, you might now find yourself drawn to partners who mirror that same dynamic. It's not uncommon to mistake emotional neglect for passion or to feel a strange pull toward people who are hard to please. Why? because it feels familiar. The mind craves what it knows, even if it's not good for us. This is why so many people find themselves stuck in cycles of unfulfilling relationships. But here's the good news. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward breaking free. Start by reflecting on your childhood experiences. Were you taught that love is consistent and unconditional, or did it feel like something you had to fight for? Once you identify these roots, you can begin to rewrite your story. The lessons we absorb in childhood don't stay in the past. They follow us into adulthood, shaping how we approach relationships. Many people unknowingly gravitate toward partners who reflect the emotional dynamics they experienced growing up. For instance, if you were raised by a parent who was emotionally distant, you might find yourself drawn to partners who are inconsistent or unavailable. It's not because you enjoy the pain. It's because your mind equates that dynamic with love. Familiarity, even when unhealthy, feels oddly comforting. This often leads to accepting relationships where attention and affection are conditional. Have you ever been with someone who only seemed interested when it was convenient for them? Or perhaps you've stayed in a relationship hoping that your partner would eventually change. These are telltale signs of unresolved patterns. The problem is, when we don't address these underlying issues, we end up repeating the same cycles, mistaking emotional neglect for passion or commitment. But here's the thing. You don't have to stay stuck in these patterns. Awareness is your greatest weapon. Start asking yourself tough questions. Are you settling for less than you deserve because it feels familiar? Are you chasing someone's approval instead of seeking mutual respect and enthusiasm? Once you begin to unpack these questions, you'll realize that love doesn't have to be a struggle. And as we'll explore next, redefining what healthy love looks like is the key to breaking free. Healthy love is refreshingly simple. It doesn't demand games, manipulation, or endless effort to win someone over. True love flows naturally, like two people walking side by side toward the same destination. It's about mutual interest, shared values, and a willingness to grow together. Imagine being with someone who genuinely enjoys your company, who doesn't make you question their intentions or feelings. That's what real love looks like. It's not about chasing, it's about choosing each other every day. The challenges in a healthy relationship aren't about convincing someone to stay or proving your worth. Instead, they revolve around the real-life hurdles of intimacy, finances, and building a life together. For example, navigating a disagreement about shared responsibilities or supporting each other through tough times are the kinds of challenges that strengthen a bond. These are the moments where love shows its true colors, not in dramatic gestures, but in the quiet, consistent acts of care and commitment. So, how do you redefine love for yourself? Start by shifting your focus. Stop romanticizing the struggle of winning someone's affection, and instead prioritize compatibility and shared enthusiasm. Ask yourself, does this person make me feel safe, valued, and appreciated? If the answer is no, it's time to And while this clarity might feel empowering, it also raises an important question. How do we recognize when a relationship is toxic? Toxic relationships often disguise themselves as passion or complicated love, but the truth is, they drain your emotional energy and leave you questioning your worth. One clear sign is when your partner is evasive, emotionally unavailable, or inconsistent. For example, if you're constantly wondering where you stand with someone or waiting for them to finally change, you're likely stuck in a toxic dynamic. Love shouldn't feel like walking on eggshells or waiting for breadcrumbs of affection. It should feel like a steady, warm embrace. Another red flag is the illusion that you can fix or save someone. Many people fall into the trap of believing that if they just love harder or wait longer, their partner will magically transform. But here's the harsh reality. People only change when they want to, not because you've sacrificed your happiness for them. Holding on to this illusion only wastes your time and emotional energy, leaving you feeling depleted and unfulfilled. Remember, love is about mutual growth, not one-sided effort. So, how do you break free? Start by recognizing that waiting for someone to become the partner you deserve is a losing game. Instead, focus on what you truly need: consistency, respect, and shared enthusiasm. If those elements are missing, it's time to walk away. And while letting go can be painful, it's also the first step toward finding someone who's truly aligned with you. There comes a moment when you realize that love isn't about convincing someone to choose you. It's about finding someone who's already as excited about you as you are about them. This awakening is a game changer. It's the moment you stop settling for half-hearted connections and start demanding the kind of love that feels mutual and effortless. Imagine meeting someone who's just as eager to build a life with you as you are with them. That's the standard you deserve. And anything less simply isn't worth your time. The key is to pay attention early on. Does this person show genuine interest? Are they consistent in their actions and words? If you find yourself over-annulling their behavior or wondering if they're truly invested, it's a sign they're not the right fit. Healthy relationships don't leave you guessing. They feel clear, secure, and energizing. For instance, if someone hesitates to commit or sends mixed signals, it's better to walk away sooner rather than later. Your time and emotional energy are far too valuable to waste. This awakening isn't just about recognizing red flags. It's about embracing your worth and refusing to settle for less. It's about saying, I deserve someone who's all in, right from the start. And while this shift in mindset can feel empowering, it also forces you to confront some uncomfortable truths about your past choices. Why do we so often ignore the signs and repeat the same mistakes? One of the biggest mistakes people make when seeking relationships is idealizing partners who clearly aren't ready for emotional commitment. It's easy to fall for someone's potential, imagining who they could be instead of accepting who they are right now. For example, you might find yourself drawn to someone with unresolved emotional issues, thinking your love will fix them. But here's the hard truth. Love isn't a rehabilitation center, and your happiness shouldn't depend on someone else's healing journey. Another common pitfall is repeating emotional patterns from the past. Have you ever noticed how some relationships feel eerily similar, even if the people are different? That's because unresolved wounds from childhood or previous relationships often resurface, drawing us toward familiar dynamics. For instance, if you grew up feeling like you had to earn love, you might unconsciously choose partners who make you feel the same way. Breaking this cycle requires deep self-awareness and a willingness to confront those patterns head-on. Lastly, many people stay stuck in relationships that demand excessive effort to work. They mistake constant struggle for passion, believing that love has to be hard to be real. But here's the thing. Healthy relationships aren't about proving your worth. They're about mutual respect and shared enthusiasm. Recognizing these mistakes is the first step toward building something better. And as we'll see next, setting boundaries is a crucial part of that process. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect you can practice in relationships. It's about recognizing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less than what you deserve. For example, if someone constantly makes you feel unimportant or demands more effort than they're willing to give, it's time to draw the line. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about creating space for the right people to come closer. After all, healthy love thrives in mutual respect, not in endless compromise. Many people fear setting boundaries because they worry it will scare potential partners away. But here's the thing. Anyone who's truly aligned with you will respect your limits, not challenge them. Imagine telling someone, I need consistency and clear communication, and instead of pulling back, they step up. That's the kind of response you should expect. Boundaries aren't walls. They're filters that help you identify who's worth your time and energy. And the best part, they teach others how to treat you. But boundaries aren't just about saying no. They're about saying yes to relationships that add value to your life. When you prioritize your emotional well-being, you naturally attract people who do the same. The key is to let go of those who demand excessive effort to win over. It's not your job to convince someone to stay. It's your job to protect your peace. And as we'll see next, choosing wisely is the ultimate key to building the love you've always wanted. At the heart of every healthy relationship lies one simple truth. Love should be reciprocal, consistent, and full of mutual enthusiasm. Choosing wisely means focusing on people who are ready to commit, not those who leave you guessing or waiting for scraps of affection. Imagine being with someone who shows up for you, who makes you feel seen, valued, and appreciated. That's the kind of love you deserve. And it starts with being intentional about who you let into your life. The key to choosing wisely is learning to let go of those who aren't ready or willing to meet you halfway. It's not about being harsh or judgmental. It's about protecting your emotional energy and investing it in the right places. For example, if someone consistently avoids conversations about the future or treats your needs as an afterthought, it's a clear sign they're not the right fit. Instead, focus on building connections with people who bring out the best in you and share your vision for a fulfilling partnership. Ultimately, choosing wisely is about breaking free from cycles of emotional pain and stepping into relationships that feel aligned and empowering. It's about recognizing that love doesn't have to be a struggle. It can be simple, joyful, and deeply rewarding. But here's the challenge. Are you ready to apply these lessons and create the love you've always dreamed of? So, now that you've uncovered the truth about love, let me ask you this. Are you ready to stop chasing and start choosing? Are you willing to let go of the patterns and people that no longer serve you and finally create the love you deserve? Because here's the thing. Nothing will change unless you decide to take that first step. What's one boundary you know you need to set today? or one relationship you need to read. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Remember, transformation starts with awareness, but it's action that truly changes your life. If this video resonated with you, don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another video about building healthier relationships, overcoming anxiety, and creating the life you've always wanted. Let's keep growing together. You've got this.